MS translators, welcome again to ECTRIMS 2019 in Stockholm. It's my pleasure today to be joined by Susan Kohlhaas, who's the Director of Research at MS Society in the UK. And we had a fantastic chat just a little while ago about all of the fantastic work that you guys are doing, and I thought it would be great for you to be able to tell all of our audience about that work. So can you give us an idea as to what your role is and all of the activities that you're up to at the moment?
Sure. So my job is essentially to do two things. So to make sure that the research we fund is really high quality and relevant for people with MS. And then the other part of my job is to get other people to fund research that we want to see happen as well. So get the UK government to fund research and other people around the world. And we're doing some really exciting work. So all of our research priorities have been informed and decided by people affected by MS. So we really know we've got a really good list of priorities to work towards. And our number one priority is slowing, stopping and reversing the accumulation of disability that we see in people with MS, so progressive MS and progression. So we are a founding and managing member of the Progressive MS Alliance, which is an international group of charities, industry, academics, people affected by MS that are working towards a common goal of slowing progression in MS. We fund research into myelin repair, so we're heavily invested in centres of excellence in Cambridge and Edinburgh to understand the fundamental mechanisms of myelin repair, to develop targets and treatments that can eventually promote the body's own stem cells to repair myelin in people with MS, and are funding a trial in bexarotene based out of the University of Cambridge and based on the work, the basic science that we funded there. We are funding trials in neuroprotection as well. So at the moment we're funding a phase 3 clinical trial of high-dose simvastatin in people with secondary progressive MS. And that is a partnership with the National Institute of Health Research, which is based in the UK, and the National MS Society in the USA. And we also are working towards, we fund a tissue bank and a UK MS register that provides data and tissue samples to researchers around the world to better understand MS. And then we are also working towards developing more efficient, more effective clinical trials, and have been working for about 18 months on that at the moment. I hope to be able to make some announcements very soon.
Okay, fantastic. So just a few things that you guys are working on then, just a little bit. But I think one of the things that we talked about that's fantastic that you do is that you involve the MS community at a number of different stages. So you talked about the priorities. And so that was literally, here's a list of different research topics, order them in terms of your interest areas essentially, and that helps guide what you fund a little bit and what you're interested in a little bit. But they're also involved a bit later in the process as well, aren't they? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So we have a network of around 350 people affected by MS that can do we have online training for them, and we give them support, but essentially the idea is to involve them in almost every stage of the research process that we can. So when researchers come to us with applications, they can send them to that network to get feedback in advance of submitting them to us. But also all of our panels and all of our groups have people affected by MS on them reviewing every application. And it really does make a big difference to the research we fund. So I have sat on many panels over my time at the MS Society, and I've seen applications sort of go up or down according to what people with MS think, and actually for really practical reasons, like I wouldn't be willing to go and have a lumbar puncture 4 times a year or every other month, or even if it's great science, it also needs to be workable for people with MS. So we put a real emphasis on that. It's really important to us.
Yeah, and I mean, that's as we talked about, it's really important because there's no point funding a study. We know how tight research funding is to fund a study that, while scientifically sounds fantastic, is never going to be able to recruit and actually have participants in it to actually generate any sort of outcomes. And you're about to embark on a new big fundraising campaign with some quite lofty goals. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, so we are in the middle of raising money, around £100 million for what we call our Stop MS appeal. And what we did when we started it is we sat down with the research community with our 10 priorities for people with MS, really worked through what do we need to do to really progress research in this area, and we kind of produced a strategy against that, and we've been in what we call our discrete phase, but it's not been very discrete because we've been talking about it a lot, but we're about to publicly launch it towards the end of this year, so hopefully there'll be lots and lots of news and excitement around that. Okay,
fantastic. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for all of the work that you're doing in the area. For people following MStranslate, I can't recommend enough that you do actively visit the MS Society page, because there's a lot of fantastic information there. We'll certainly be sharing more in the future as well. But thank you so much for your time.
Well, and thanks. It was great to meet you.
Thanks a lot.